Okay, so having done our highlighting, we can then start to think about how we would want to write this up. So the first thing that we need to do is place the extract and show the examiner that we know where this comes from. So the extract is taken from the moment after Crooks has been threatening and bullying Lenny, teasing him that George might not come back from town. Alright, one sentence really that just places the extract, shows the examiner we know where we are, and then we're straight into our first piece of highlighting. So in the first line, point the reader where to look. Crooks is basically he's apologising to Lenny. Oops. Then we want to embed the quote to make it part of the sentence. Crooks said, "I didn't mean to scare you." So I think there are a couple of things that we could say here. This could indicate that he's not really a bully and that he regrets his actions, but also that he is now a bit afraid of Lenny after Lenny threatened him if he harmed George. Okay, so that's slightly going outside the extract, but we are also focusing on what the language shows and the impression of Crooks that it gives. So straight after that, point the reader where to look, straight after that, Crooks admits I was talking about myself. Which shows that Crooks suffers from loneliness and feels isolated on the ranch. So this is kind of backed up. And then he says, so we're moving swiftly on to the next kind of quote. A guy sits alone here out at night. Alone out here at night. Which shows that Crooks has no company or friendship. Kind of at night is important because this is kind of during his private time. Yeah, we know that he plays horseshoes during the day, but in the quote it's this idea of at night. Then we can go on to talk about the effects of that loneliness. So we can see that there's anxiety, there's concern, there's worry, there's doubt. All those things are brought about by his loneliness. So we'll just point the reader where to look. He continues talking, saying, I've seen things out here, I wasn't drunk. I don't know if I was asleep. I wasn't drunk, I don't know if I was asleep. So this gives the impression that Crooks's loneliness has brought doubt and anxiety as he's unsure of what he has and hasn't seen. And I think, you know, there's another point there. This is such a big deal for Crooks. He seems quite damaged by it. Okay, then we're moving on. Yeah, then we get this change, and it's a good idea always to look for changes in the extract, like shifts in tone, shifts in mood or atmosphere, shifts in the character's emotions. And here we've got a good example. He seems damaged by it. So we've got a however, change of tone. When Crooks starts to look back on his childhood, so that's pointing the reader where to look. He needs to embed the quote. He went on dreamily. Again, following the quote, which suggests that he looks back on his childhood very fondly and has more positive associations with it than he does with his current life. Okay, we'll just make a bit of room so we can continue. So some typos. Right, so that idea is kind of confirmed when he starts to talk about having company. And then we could drop in the quote. They was always near me, always there. So actually we could say having the company of his brothers. And then he says, okay, so we get the sense here that, you know, he's looking back on it fondly. He wishes things were still like that, and that's what we call nostalgia. So we get the sense of Crooks being nostalgic for his childhood. I think that's kind of hammered that point. Right, so now we've got a bit of a gap. We're going to say when the conversation turns on to George and Lenny's dream, because that's what Lenny does. He changes the conversation around to talk about the rabbits and their dream. So when the conversation changes to George and Lenny's dream, Crooks was scornful. That would work straight away. So again, which suggests that he's quite bitter, I think, cynical about others' dreams. And, you know, reasonable deduction to make, I think, is that perhaps he's slightly jealous of other men having a dream. And here we've got, that sort of idea confirmed by him not believing in happy endings. So you can say, this is confirmed when Crooks talks about his reading. So pointing the reader where to look, the bit about the reading. And then we just drop the quote. I read plenty books out here. Nobody ever gets to heaven, nobody gets no land. So he's stopped believing in happy endings, and his, well, dreamy nostalgia from when he was talking about his childhood is over. He seems quite cynical and dismissive of others' happiness and their dreams coming true. Okay, I think we'll leave it there.